Then he departed out of the land, and whither he went, no man knoweth. And his son Nephi did keep the records in his stead. What could possibly be more important than this? Where did he go?
The three wise men. It's Gaspar. What is it again?
Gaspar, Melchior, and Balthazar.
Melchior and Balthazar.
Mm-hmm.
So now we should be saying it's Nephi, Lehi,
and Samuel.
And Samuel.
Yeah.
In a ship probably built by Hagoth.
Yes.
And that's why the Liahona went missing.
Oh. Did they use a Liahona?
Like the sea that never will be moved, am I? And the little drummer boy, he wasn't in the Bible either. You know what I'm saying?
No,
so it's
he was
like,
a Nephite too, though, actually.
Oh, he was a Nephite too.
I think they were preaching along the way. Same with the Lamanite, kind of mysteriously vanishes.
We are just coming up after like late Alma 63, Helaman 3 sort of stuff where the Nephites start to talk about how they're more extensively shipping.
Nobody knows where Samuel the Lamanite came from.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Ward Radio. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by Brad Whitbeck and Jonah Barnes, the Associate Professor of all things apocryphal, who has come to the studio with quite a thesis. Sometimes I don't know what to think of these show topics, bro. But the three wise men were Nephites.
Oh, 100%.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
You don't know what to think? I'll tell you what to think. Don't you worry about it.
That's a bold claim to make when one of them was clearly a Lamanite.
Okay, so for those who are just tuning in who don't know who Nephites and Lamanites are and that are listening to us on the radio, could you please just tell us what Nephites and Lamanites are and why you think, what is it, Balthazar, Gaspar, and Malthiazar? I don't remember.
No. It was D'Artagnan
Larry,
was one of them.
Curly, and Mo.
Orthos, Porthos, Ethos, Porthos, and Aramis. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, why you think the three wise men were not actually Zoroastrian astrologers, as many people suspect, but were Nephites?
Yes.
Jonah
Why
Barnes.
not both?
Well,
Yeah, that's
dang it, Brad! Quit one-upping my crazy conspiracy theory.
I'm sorry.
okay. So anyway,
So it's just some background for our listeners who are tuning in. I know that you guys know this, but so we're always whenever we talk about Christmas and we're talking about Jesus Christ and God and all these things, sometimes we get a little bit like Jerusalem centric. But actually, there were lots of people all around the world. I mean, if God was calling prophets and talking to people in that part of the world, why would he just leave everybody else out to die? So in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, of which I am a member, we believe in the Book of Mormon, a record of people in the New World who were also very excited about the coming of Jesus Christ. And those people were called, many of them, some of them, not all of them, were called Nephites. Some of them were called Lamanites. Named after their forefather from which they descended, like Jews are named after Judah and things like that, right? So Nephites. Anyways.
Ishmaelites after Ishmael.
Yeah. So they're over in the New World and they're also excited about Jesus' coming, and they have a record in the Book of Mormon. And that record, if you read it real careful, which Brad obviously hasn't been doing, and we're here
really
to correct
carefully,
that. Carefully.
it's an adverb.
Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Ouch.
go ahead.
Oh, my wife heard
Talk
that.
more about how bad I am at reading carefully.
No, I shouldn't poke that bear. But if you read it real carefully, there's some clues that some people have strung together and now have the theory that the three wise men who visited Jesus Christ were from the New World, and the evidence thereof is in the pages of the Book of Mormon. So,
Okay, so is this one of the super cool conspiracy theories where like, yeah, that's probably true and I can see it, I like it, and I want it to be true? Or is this going to be one of those conspiracy theories where we're embarrassed of this broadcast 5 years from now when we're running for political office? Like,
Look, why not both?
again, Brad's like, what?
you know?
Hey, if who's the Santos guy? Hey, if that guy can get elected, then
yeah, that's true.
then we have a chance. Small one.
Okay, so hit it, Jonah. Tell us the support of your thesis that the three wise men were Nephites.
Yes. All right. Well, in the Book of Helaman, which is a sub-book inside the Book of Mormon, a record of these people in the New World, we read about some pretty crazy characters, okay? One of which is Samuel the Lamanite. His name was Samuel, and he was a Lamanite. And he went over to the Nephites, and he was preaching repentance to the people on the wall. We actually have a photograph of him. Photograph right there. Amazing that technology existed. There is. Now, if you look real close, Brad, which you obviously haven't done, you can tell he's wearing a teeny tiny little Santa hat. You see that?
Yeah.
You never noticed that, did you, Brad?
That Santa hat is huge.
You never noticed that.
You photoshopped on the biggest Santa hat I've ever seen.
Oh, that's outrageous. No. So Samuel the Lamanite was preaching to the people of this big city, telling them they're being wicked. And if you read part of his preaching, he says, and this is in Helaman chapter 16, he says, "And behold, there shall a new star arise, such as one as ye have never beheld. And this shall also be a sign unto you." And he predicts it exactly the day when Christ will be born. Mm-hmm. He says he'll be born. The Son of Man, the Son of God, is coming down, and he predicts, and he gives a time stamp to it. Lots of prophets talked about the coming of the Messiah, but it was Samuel the Lamanite who gave it a time stamp. Okay, all right.
Okay, cool.
Now, then Samuel the Lamanite kind of mysteriously vanishes. Samuel the Lamanite, at the end of his sermon, it says that he went back into his country, and he was never heard of again, and we don't know where he went. Now, there's lots of people in and out of the book who you don't end with like we never found out where they went.
Yeah, like where was his follow-up album? Like where was the greatest hits, you know?
And like we are just coming up after like late Alma 63, Helaman 3 sort of stuff where the Nephites start to talk about how they're more extensively shipping things, right, into the land northward, and
we're getting to that.
Goes off. Yeah,
we're getting to that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, don't
Sick.
worry, it's coming.
Yeah,
Brad. Okay, maybe he's read this book of Mormon.
We'll keep him.
I can read.
Maybe we'll keep him,
possibly.
So then, all right. So right about this time, if you read the book of Helaman in there right before Samuel the Lamanite, there were these two dudes who were pretty awesome dudes named Nephi and Lehi, named after their forefathers. Nephi was a king. He was a judge, and he refused the judgment seat, right? In Helaman chapter 5, verse 1, Nephi was the judge, steps down so he can be a preacher with his brother Lehi, okay? They go around preaching to people that they should repent, and it says one of the reasons they were motivated to do it, their father said to them, "Remember my sons, the words are spoken. Remember that there is no other way whereby man can be saved, only by the atoning blood of Jesus Christ, who shall come. Yea, remember that he cometh to redeem the world." Okay, now this is just a few years. This is like within 10 or 20 years of Christ coming. And so that was one of their motivations. He's coming soon. We got to get out and preach to people. So they go out and preach to people. They do these amazing miracles. Okay. Then in 3rd Nephi 1, this is another sub-book of the Book of Mormon. I'm picking verses out of here. After they finish their great ministry, these awesome brothers who are just rocking it, it says they departed out of the land of Zarahemla, and they gave charge unto their son Nephi concerning blah, 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 blah. And the records which they kept, they departed out of the land. Then he departed out of the land, and whither he went no man knoweth. And his son Nephi did keep the records in his stead, yea, the record of his people. Now, hold on, Brad. Hold on. If you knew that Jesus Christ himself was descending in a pillar of light to Zarahemla in 30 years, why wouldn't you stick around? You know that's going to happen. Where on earth do you think you're going? Why would you vanish like this, right? Unless you had some real important date, okay? Mm-hmm. So it actually mentions it again. Later in 3rd Nephi, it says, and Nephi's father, who was one of these two preacher guys, we don't know where he is, but his son's still around here. It doesn't say he died. It never says he dies. It says, and he's just gone. We don't know where he went, right? Why would you miss that date if you knew Jesus Christ was coming, okay? So then it gets, the plot thickens.
Well, maybe he was just tired of being thrown in prison.
Oh, well, we actually have a photograph of that too. Funny you should bring that up, Brad, of Nephi and Lehi in the Discord.
Really?
This is a photograph taken on the iPhone of one of the guards when they threw Nephi and Lehi into the furnace. Now, ask yourself this question, guys. Why would you be wearing hats when it's that hot inside a furnace?
Okay.
Is this just a flex? He's just flexing on these guys?
For our radio listeners here, there's a very common icon in the church of kind of like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that were put inside the fiery furnace, but were saved by angels, ministering angels, and so on and so forth. There's a picture of, who are these two prophets?
Nephi and Lehi.
Nephi and Lehi that many are very familiar with, but obviously Santa hats have been superimposed upon them, which is quite humorous. And they do rival the Santa hat that you're wearing in this holly jolly.
Superimposed. I don't know. You're seeing.
Oh, you think it's authentic?
Well, it's before your eyes. Can't believe your own eyes.
Yeah.
And why would they be wearing these hats when it's already so hot in the furnace? Seems a little sus.
Yeah.
Just saying. Seems a little sus. If they didn't have the holiday spirit and they were planning their trip. Okay, so in Alma 63, like Brad very perspicaciously pointed out, Haggoth was a man in the New World who was already building ships and sailing across the Western Sea, right? And this is 50 years before Nephi and Lehi and the dude Samuel the Lamanite, who was preaching to people. Before these guys, 50 years before, we knew there was transoceanic contact and intercourse and voyages going on. We know that was happening. This isn't 1950 when everyone's like, oh, they had no contact with anybody. No, we know that they did. We know people were sailing back and forth. So we know it was possible. In 3rd Nephi, later on, and this is the verse, it says, Nephi, who is the father of Nephi, so this is one of the two guys with the Santa hats on in the furnace, who had charge of the records, did not return to the land and could nowhere be found in all the land.
Oh, so people are like looking for him.
Looking for the dude.
And they can't find him.
The dude who prophesied about this, who was the OG, who was the big shishka, the big fish, he's just gone. He's just gone. And it's like, this is the most important thing that's ever happened in the history of anything. What could possibly be more important than this? Where did he go? Okay. So in Matthew chapter 2, it says, we saw a star in the east, right? And these wise men come. And actually the word wise men, funny thing, is used in the book of Helaman. Smoking gun.
Ooh.
In the book of Mormon, it actually refers to wise men. Helaman chapter 16. Talking about
what's the
Nephi
scripture?
and Lehi. Yeah, that's right. Verse 13. So it just, the Book of Mormon is kind of a compilation of records. It's kind of mashed together. There were no verses or chapters when it was first revealed. Okay. So the first part of this chapter is talking about Nephi and Lehi.
This Helaman 13, you say?
Helaman chapter 16.
16, okay.
Verse 13. So the first part of the chapter is talking about Nephi and Lehi, these two dudes wearing the Santa hats, suspiciously. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it kind of changes, and you can hear how the voice kind of changes, and it goes to the perspective of kind of Zarahemla. Okay. And so it's talking about these two dudes, and it says they did great signs and wonders. Okay. And then verse 14, and angels did appear unto men, wise men, and did declare unto them great tidings, glad tidings of great joy. Thus in the year the scriptures began to be fulfilled. Huh? That's
glad tidings of great joy.
Come on.
That's a pretty jolly scripture to be in
That's a
there.
smoking gun, people. So Nephi and Lehi went to Zarahemla to preach just like Samuel did. And they were called wise men then. Then they're like, we got to go. We only got a couple years left. And they skip off to the New World to go see the birth of Jesus Christ. But they're late. Why? Because they're Mormons, and Mormons are always late to everything. So they're just a couple years late.
Oh, that's the most irrefutable part of your argument.
I know,
right?
right? Because they were late. If they had really been like Persians coming from the east, they'd have been on time.
Okay.
Oh, that's
okay,
funny.
Jonah Barnes. So
Bring it on, Brad. Bring it on.
I love this. I think it's awesome. I think it's so fun. And here's the thing. What I thought you were going to say in the very beginning when you started talking about this, I have heard other people suggest that the three wise men were the three Nephites. And I'm like, guys, the timeline is completely off. The three Nephites didn't become the three Nephites until Christ was resurrected.
Oh, you're talking
right?
about the three Nephites, sometimes a term referring to three of Jesus' New World apostles.
Yeah.
Who were granted anything they wanted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have been after his birth, though.
Exactly. And so I've heard people be like, oh, those must have been the 3 Nephites, right? And it's like, no, that doesn't work at all.
Uh-oh, oops.
But this one, one of which is a Lamanite.
Lamanite.
Yeah. Awesome.
Lamanite
I love this,
representation.
Jonah. This is super fun.
Yeah, because they vanish, and it makes a look. It never says when other people vanish. Doesn't make a big deal of it, right?
Well, it does with Alma, but his is like being taken up like Moses.
Yeah. When people just die, they're like, oh, by the way, that dude died.
Yeah.
But if you're carving these into plates, right? You're going to take the time to be like.
So what's that? Put this into layman's terms for the timeline. Okay, Samuel the Lamanite came in what year BC?
About 5 or 6 scholars think it's about 5 or 6 BC.
Okay, and he famously says, hey, there's a Messiah that's coming. There will be signs in the heavens. They will be irrefutable. I know because I watch Richard Rich's Living Scriptures. Okay,
The Adam Sandler movie?
Yeah, no. The Living Scriptures, Samuel the Lamanite, those OG animated. Looks like
those are sweet.
Those would be very different
awesome.
if they were made by Adam Sandler.
They'd be very different. They're made by Adam Sandler. No, but they're
I don't
totally
wanna
awesome. In fact, the guy that sings the voice of Nephi, like the sea that never will be moved, am I? That guy, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
He sang at my mission farewell because he was from our stake.
Really?
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Richard Rich was our stake president here.
Oh, nice.
You know, and so he was in charge of basically all the members of the church in the western half of our city, and he used local talent to sing and to voiceover and to animate all of the Living Scriptures videos. So yeah, the dude that sings the voice of Nephi, refusing to bow before the Gadian robbers or whoever it was, I can't remember who it was. That was actually, the guy that sang at my farewell. Oh, that I were an angel.
See, these are jolly. These are jolly people.
Yeah, exactly. So about 5 or 6 BC.
Same with the Lamanites, about 5 or 6 BC, and it's right at that same time is Nephi and Lehi. They're preaching concurrently. Nephi and Lehi, the 2 Nephites of the 3 that we're proposing, those 2 brothers, one of which was a king. He was a judgment. He was set on the judgment seat. Okay, we don't know now. Nobody knows where Samuel the Lamanite came from.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And the Lamanites had many kings, right?
Oh, sure.
So easily he could have been a king.
Yeah. And Lehi, being the younger brother of Nephi, who was the former judge, would have inherited the judgment seat, but he didn't, right? So these guys, all 3 of them could have been kings.
So instead of saying we 3 kings of Orient are, we should say we 3 kings of Mormonient.
Oh, I love it. Yes, right.
Of America.
Yeah.
Right on.
Hashtag America. Okay, so around 5 or whatever BC, you've got Samuel the Lamanite coming out preaching that, okay, this is coming. Simultaneously and concurrently, you have Lehi and Nephi preaching their heads off. But all 3 of these individuals are marked in Scripture as having just suddenly disappeared and never having been seen again from the land of Zarahemla and the land of the Book of Mormon, is what you're
Vanished.
saying.
They all vanished.
And within about 5 years of the birth of Jesus Christ.
Just enough time to hop on a boat and sail across to the old world, go to the market, get yourself some frankincense, and they were still a couple years late.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so here's my question is, let's take this out of the realm of just like fun thought experiment and let's put it in the practical realm of archaeology. Okay. So we know that around that time, okay, that, the Latin sail had been perfected. People could indeed sail against the crosswinds. Okay. The old square sails of the Phoenicians were technologically a thing of the past. And there was the possibility of traveling those very long distances. We know Easter Island had already been founded. We know that Tahiti already had been long civilized by people that made the 2,000-mile journey from other Polynesian islands and so on and so forth. By that time, Leif Erikson had already made it to the New World. He'd already come down. He'd already settled that cool little hut that they have in, I think it's like Nova Scotia or wherever it is, So, okay, so we know that intercontinental travel was easy, but the timeline we know that the wise men showed up in about Jesus Christ was about 8 years old. The wise men are always showing up in the nativity and everything like that, but he was a young boy by the time the wise men.
Yeah, the scriptures, it wasn't, the nativity famously didn't happen that way.
Yeah, and the little drummer boy, he wasn't in the Bible either. You know what I'm saying?
No,
so
he
it's
was
like,
a Nephite too, though, actually.
Oh, he was a Nephite too.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the next
episode.
So, well, which way do you think he went? Like, let's just say, do you think they went east across the ocean and kind of did the whole make it to the Horn of Africa, the Canary Islands, and go down the Mediterranean to ancient Israel, passing, I don't know, a lot of angry civilizations? Or are we saying that like they went west, kind of like the reverse of the way Lehi came, and possibly went past, Australia, Malaysia, back up? What are we saying? We went back up the Persian Peninsula. We recrossed the empty quarter.
Yeah,
and then went along the borders of the Red Sea. Like, do we just follow Lehi's old roadmap? Like,
well,
what?
these guys remember, it says explicitly in 3rd Nephi that Nephi was, one of these dudes was the keeper of the records. He had Lehi's record, right, of where they went. Now, we've lost that record since. But he had that record. So did he retrace the route as best he could that Lehi took? Did he take a new route? It says...
Well, it had to have been a new route because he ended up in a different kingdom.
Oh, that's my gingerbread cookies are done.
Good job. You're very festive. Because if they came from the east, so obviously they didn't make it straight to Jerusalem, and they weren't just waiting for the sign in Jerusalem, okay? They made it somewhere else. So do you think that they made it somewhere else, were hanging out, looking for the star, finally found it, and then were able to hone in? Or do you think it just literally took them, if Jesus was 8 years old and it's 8 AD, Anno Domini, and then they left in 5 BC or 6 BC, do you think that the trip just really actually took them 13 or 14 years to get there?
No,
like they were hoofing it? Or
I think they were preaching along the way.
Oh, that's a good answer.
I think they were preaching along the way.
And picking up gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
And they had to go get the gold, frankincense, and myrrh,
Unless
which is in
they
the east.
brought the gold with them.
Oh.
And maybe
Nephite gold in the stable.
But I like the
love
idea of
this.
preaching along the way. That would describe the golden book of the Kalawi people?
Of the Kawin.
Of the Kawin.
The book of the
Interesting.
Kawin in Malaysia, which is right en route from the Western Sea to the eastern side of Jerusalem.
All right, dude, this is
Solved it,
so
guys.
freaking awesome. Last question here in the last 30 seconds we have before we got to go is, what's the traditional names of the 3 wise men? It's Gaspar. What is it again?
Gaspar, Melchior, and Balthazar.
Melchior and Balthazar. So now we should be saying it's Nephi, Lehi,
and Samuel.
Yeah. In a ship probably built by Hagoth.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
By the way, Hagoth, that's kind of an ugly name. I got to give that. Most of the other names were kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? Abinadi, Nephi, Lehi, so on and so forth. But then there's this very, it sounds too much like Hagrid from Harry Potter mixed with like Visigoth. You know what I'm saying?
Visigoth sounds awesome.
See, but I think if you
but
were
Hagoth sounds like a marauder, not like a nice guy. See, Nephi, that sounds like a nice guy.
Okay,
Lehi sounds like a nice guy.
But consider that Hagoth built ships big enough to transport all these people across. He was probably just stacked. The dude was probably super buff. Like, if you're that buff, you can be called Hagoth. If you're like a little skinny dweeb like me, calling me Hagoth, that sounds super ugly.
Also envision him being very hairy. He probably had to shave his back.
Yeah, I feel like Harry.
So anyway,
Why would you
I don't just Hagoth. It sounds like a hairy guy's name.
Makes sense, Brad. What you
know?
Have you always pictured Hagoth with a shaven back? What a weirdo!
Yeah,
my God.
What a weirdo!
So as you can see, we go deep here. We go hard in the paint at Ward Radio.
That's right.
And we're trendsetters. We set all the new trends, and the new trend is, instead of saying Gaspar,
Balthazar, and Melchior,
we're going to say Nephi, Lehi, and Samuel in a ship built by Hagoth.
Boom.
When we make our nativity sets here. This is great. This is awesome. So anyway,
okay. So the last cherry on top is, did they use a Liahona to get back?
And that's why the Liahona went missing. Oh.
Did they use a Liahona to get back? And that was the gold. Anyways, food for thought, people. Gingerbread cookies are done.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, guys, this has been great. This has been real, and this has been fun. I have completely reevaluated every one of my presuppositions about the nativity, and I will probably
which you
become
had many, right?
Yeah, and I will probably become an activist. So,
and about Hagoth's back hair, Brad's mind is blown.
Yeah,
Hagoth's
exactly.
back hair. He never
Absolutely.
knew.
So anyway, if you guys like what you're hearing, please check us out. And you want to contribute to the program, you can always look us up at Ward Radio on both the Cash App and on Venmo if you'd like to contribute. And also for this and more, please check us out on wardradio.com. This is FM 98.1 and AM 1220. We will see you in the next program. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Before you go, please make sure that you like the video, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please let this be the video in which we earn your subscription, and that you press the alert button so you're alerted to all of our fun live streams and standalone videos and community posts. Also, if you'd like to help us out, please consider joining the channel. Members get all kinds of cool perks and benefits. They get early access to a lot of our videos and special emoticons and emojis during our live streams and preferential treatment there. It's a lot of fun. Speaking of a lot of fun, we have a super cool Discord. If you'd like to join our Discord, check us out on wardradio.com. There's a link to the Discord there. Also, you can sign up there for our newsletter. Our newsletter is a lot of fun, and you can put your email address in there. And if you'd like to contribute to the program, please consider looking us up on Venmo or on the Cash App. We're on both of those platforms. Also, if you just want to keep watching more content, right about here and probably right about here are going to be some more videos. Please check those out. And as always, for this and more, please make sure that you look us up and check us out at wardradio.com.
This is what it's like to be one of the best. Moving to the beat, feel the song in my chest. Yeah, you know we turning up, never settling for less.